What's popping out? It looks like Drake can't catch a break because not only after Like Us dropped, which was talk about a bombshell of a track, and Drake did respond with the Heart Part 6. This whole timeline is getting jumbled up in my head. He responds with the Heart Part 6, but it seemed like he had already shot and fired his red button, which seemed to be Family Matters. Think about it. Had a music video, 3 different parts. The song is a banger, well planned out music video, well executed concept. I don't feel like anybody can actually genuinely hate on that song. There's no way. Great song. And then Not Like Us comes out. He drops the Heart Part 6, which kind of feels like he scrambled. It was most likely recorded in a day. I wouldn't be surprised if Not Like Us was. Just the lyrics weren't too complex. There were a lot of bars, actually. There's some layers to Not Like Us, which is why it's such a brilliant song, in my opinion. But that's probably a topic for another video. But the issue is the shooting that happened at Drake's house, or castle, or mansion, or chateau, or whatever you want to call it. I don't think he's not in French Canada, so we wouldn't call it a chateau. But Drake's home, there's people that, it's like 2 a.m., they pull up, they cause a bunch of noise, a disturbance, pretty much to lure someone out and air it out on a security guard. I think they shot him either a couple of times in the chest. We don't even know the condition of the security guard. We're not even getting updates on the condition of the security guard. But this happens immediately after the Heart Part 6. Police start investigating. It's a huge deal. On top of this beef, it has nothing to do with the beef from all the information that we've gathered. And I genuinely believe it has nothing to do with this beef. But it puts Drake in a tough position because, number one, police are saying, hey, he's cooperating with us. And then Drake was just trying to be the tough guy, talking about, hey, where's my paperwork, this and that. We don't know to what degree he's cooperating. I personally don't really care at all because what is he going to do? I think he's probably just allowing them to investigate. We don't know to what degree. Listen, 1090 Jake will handle all of that, which is pretty damn cool that 1090 Jake gets a shout out on a Drake track. That's wild. Moving forward, this puts him in a position to where he can't really reply. Like when you have something like this going on, you kind of got to shut up. And Drake's lawyers are probably telling him, yo, you got to lay low and you got to shut up because someone just got shot outside your house. And we don't know where it's from. And I think Drake, in his mind, he's spinning like, yo, where is this coming from? Someone will try to say, oh man, you don't know. We're almost certain this has nothing to do with Kendrick Lamar. But that opens up, okay, where did this come from? And an interesting thing is Drake has been trying and somewhat succeeding at ingratiating himself with Toronto, not just Toronto, but mainly Toronto and Canada gangs and underworld, which is odd because, number one, he didn't grow up around that. We know that. We saw the guy at the bar mitzvah. We saw the school that he went to. He said he grew up the poorest in a really, really nice neighborhood. Call that what you will. Give whatever judgment you have about that. But on top of that, what I find odd is Drake comes to America. He's rolling with Birdman and Lil Wayne, who are the biggest bees, bloods, commercially speaking. Before we have our gang scholars and gang scribes come saying, oh, they're not really blood because whatever. They were very, very commercial bloods. We'll put it that way. And they commercialized that gang a lot in the later 2000s. Some people say, oh, no, it was big. East Coast, they really commercialized that stuff. And on a grand scale. Cash Money was huge. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. So he didn't adopt Bloods or anything like that. But when he went to Toronto, he was kind of sowing the seeds. If you guys remember, he had this thing with Mo G. The reason he was shouting out people like Mo G and Top 5 and all these other guys and somewhat handing them features, maybe taking them on a show or two, letting them open up, he was getting into the roots of this. Some people say it may be tied to Cash XO, who is founder, CEO of XO Records. The Weeknd and Drake have had issues. I do know XO is somewhat tied to some sort of gang stuff, but I don't know because that happened in LA. It happened in Encino, and the reason why I'm not willing to say this maybe had something to do with Drake is because that would be insinuating that, number one, Drake was the first one to send violence towards a member of XO, Cash, and The Weeknd. I don't think Drake is going to do that off rip. It just seems a little bit too much. The Weeknd hasn't necessarily done too much to him. Like, sure, he sang a couple of bars about him that weren't too favorable. That doesn't seem like it's going to warrant that. And it seems like Drake's public image is more important to him than anything else. And we haven't seen anyone around him get hurt either. Not to mention, number two, is that these guys are in LA. LA is crazy right now. LA has always been a little wild, but even good neighborhoods are getting ran down on. There was a news report where some lady was like, yeah, this is a very safe neighborhood. I'm pretty sure this just has something to do with the people in the house. But these guys, usually a security guard is a deterrent, right? People see security like, damn, man, we can't pull up here. These guys saw security and shot at the security. So the security gets shot at the home in LA. The problem, though, for Drake, why I feel bad for security, these guys aren't even allowed to have guns. So all these criminals in Toronto have guns, but they're running around with them. But security can't have weapons. So as security, what are you, just a moving target? Because these guys lure you out, they aim at you, or they shoot at you. What do? You can't return fire. You just got to take the bullets. So it's kind of like a meat shield, the security is in Canada. At least in the U.S., these guys can walk around and defend themselves and their clients without entirely sacrificing their lives, right? They've got at least they're even keeled with the criminals. And they're likely more trained in firearms anyway, so they're better off. Whereas in Canada, it just seems ridiculous. And then another day, someone got into like a scuffle or something with one of Drake's security guards. I think it was a fight. I don't know. That happened either a day or two after the shooting incident. And all of these things and press around Drake's name on top of the whole like kids thing, which I'm going to outright say it, I think it's dirty. Not from Kendrick Lamar, from fans to try to purport this. And from anybody that has a big platform that's trying to push this onto Drake. It's really, really wrong. It's really, really foul. Drake has never, I don't even think, maybe he had like some sort of lawsuit. There's never been an objective thing about Drake doing anything weird with an underage person. People say like, oh, the Millie Bobby Brown thing. We only heard about it from her side, and even she said, it's just, there's no objectivity with what happened with Drake and underage. It just doesn't exist. Yeah, I will say this. There are a lot of odd things going on, right? Odd. I will say that. But Drake just seems to have everything on lock and making sure that he doesn't put himself in a position to where anything could come out later. So I think Diddy was rolling around like, yo, I'm invincible. I can do whatever. And I don't even know if Diddy did anything with someone underage. I wouldn't be surprised, though. This was the 90s. They were rolling like that back then. Not justifying it, but there's a lot of people that were moving like that in the 90s. And other rappers I think they even talked about it, or their entourage. With Drake, it seems like everything's calculated. And having this thrown on your name with no proof, no case, no victim coming out, nothing, it's really dirty. And like I said, I don't blame Kendrick Lamar for it because they're in a dirty beef. Or, they're in a mudslinging contest to a degree, which was started by one individual who decided to take it there. But all of these things happening at the same time, Drake dropped the Hard Part 6, which was trying to quell the whole kids thing, which I completely understand. But then this happening kind of puts him in the back foot where he really can't reply until this cools off. And at the same time, like I said, he's probably thinking, now I'm in actual danger, or someone is letting me know in my own city that I'm in danger. At the same time that I'm beefing with arguably the biggest American rapper. So they kind of hit him at a point where he was vulnerable, at least where his mind was at. So they really do say heavy is the head that wears the crown. That guy's under an incredible amount of stress. I do not envy it. This fame stuff, sheesh. But I'm really interested to see how this develops. I want to know more. I want to know who did that shooting. I want to know how. And I think we'll get a lot of answers into the things that Drake or the people around Drake may be involved in. I mean, we saw it in the music video. He was rolling with the neighbor of his that was a high-ranking Hells Angels member. And that's the thing where I got to ask, why? Why does Drake feel the need to do this? Maybe it started with the Jay Prince relationship, and Jay Prince is well-connected, but it didn't have to go further than that. It absolutely didn't, and it didn't have to go to Hells Angels. So I think Drake thinks that stuff is cool and he wants to be close to it and wants to have them backing him. But if you just look at somebody, I won't say Logic. Let's just look at J. Cole, right? J. Cole doesn't flex no gang affiliation. He doesn't try to get cool with any gangs. He's just cool with who he's cool with. And he lives a normal, easy life. He just gets to kick it. I think that's the model. Meanwhile, J. Cole probably grew up, he's in Fayetteville, North Carolina, but J. Cole grew up way closer to the environment of someone that would be like, oh, I want to get close to gangs than Drake did. Yet he didn't do it. I think this side of Drake is what I've always felt was just whack. It's completely unnecessary. But if Drake is one of those people that wants to be all powerful, which it kind of seems to be the case, then it makes sense why he would do this. Although I don't know if the benefits outweigh the costs, seeing as how lives are in danger. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.